Many people remember those good old days when you could visit the cockpit during a flight. Sadly for us aviation enthusiasts, this has been banned for many years, and cockpit access is much more secure these days. However, one unfortunate cockpit visit stands out as an awful example of why the practice should remain banned. Indeed, it was almost 30 years ago that one of the pilot's children was allowed to take control, which had devastating and deadly results. Before we begin, you should know that there isn't much video footage available of the Aeroflot Airbus A310. There are, however, a fair amount of still images. We'll do our best to keep the imagery relevant to the story, but don't expect us to have filmed any dramatic reenactments of this incident. It was almost 30 years ago that the incident happened on board an Aeroflot Airbus A310 aircraft. More specifically, the flight took place on March 23, 1993. The aircraft carried registration Foxtrot Oscar Golf Quebec Sierra and had only entered service with the airline at the end of 1992. The A310 was operating Aeroflot Flight 593 from Sheremetyevo International Airport, Moscow, to Kai Tak Airport in Hong Kong. There were 63 passengers on board. This comprised 40 Russian nationals and 23 foreigners. There were also 9 flight attendants and 3 pilots. 2 of the passengers on board were the children of relief pilot Yaroslav Vladimirovich Kudrinsky, his 16-year-old son Eldar, and 12-year-old daughter Yana. During the early stages of the flight, they visited their father in the cockpit. Not an unusual situation, as that was allowed at the time. What was unusual was that Yaroslav allowed his children to handle the aircraft's controls. The autopilot was engaged at the time. The descriptions of what happened next are based on transcripts from the cockpit voice recorder. His daughter, Yana, took the controls first. Yaroslav adjusted the heading on the autopilot to turn the aircraft while she was at the controls, but the autopilot remained engaged. His son, Eldar, then did the same, but applied much more force to the control column. This disengaged autopilot control of the aircraft ailerons, leaving Eldar partially in control. This caused the aircraft to bank right. The pilots failed to notice warning lights and became confused as the flight path depiction shown on the screen changed to show a 180-degree turn. In the time it took to realize the problem, the aircraft bank angle had steepened past 45 degrees to almost 90 degrees. The Airbus A310, like most commercial aircraft, could not handle such a steep bank angle. The aircraft started to descend rapidly. With the autopilot disengaged from aileron control, it tried to compensate by pitching up and increasing thrust. The aircraft began to stall and automatically switched into a dive to recover. The pilots then regained control and attempted to pull out of the dive. They succeeded, but overcompensated and again stalled the aircraft. This time, the steep angle of attack caused the aircraft to enter a spin. Again, the pilots managed to recover from this, but the aircraft had lost too much altitude, crashing into the Kuznets Alotau mountain range in Kemerovo Oblast. Sadly, this took the lives of everyone on board. Obviously, the children's actions and their distraction in the cockpit were contributing factors. Allowing them to take any form of control was against regulations. There was no evidence of a technical failure of any sort found. Sadly, it was also reported that if the pilots had left the controls to the autopilot rather than try and correct manually, it would have recovered the situation. Have you ever visited the cockpit during a flight? Did you know about this incident? Let us know by leaving a comment. In addition to our daily YouTube videos, Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.